Welcome to Pack Talk Podcast, episode 131. Today we're going to be talking about a guide to socialization for your dog, whether you have a puppy or adult dog. These concepts and strategies we're going to talk about apply to both situations. Most people do think that the best thing for their dog's socialization is going to be to take their dog to the dog park, let them meet a bunch of dogs, a bunch of people, go crazy. And I'm here to tell you that's not the way to actually do your dog's socialization. But the good thing is today we are going to tell you how to do your dog's socialization to set you and your dog up for success. So before we get started here, if you've never heard our podcast before, my name is Chad. I'm the founder of Canine Revolution Dog Training. We've been serving dogs. We've been serving owners. We've been serving dog lovers. We've been serving dog trainers since 2017. We specialize in dog training, dog behavior, dog psychology. And today I have my good friend and professional dog trainer, Danny, to help teach you about socialization and share some of our knowledge. So right out the gate, I will say socialization is providing your dog with positive experiences in close proximity to new people, places, and things. So key word, close proximity. This doesn't mean that your dog has to actually interact with people, places, and things to socialize. They just need a positive experience. They need positive exposure to them. Now, the way I usually like to explain it is that your baseline socialization is providing those positive experiences in close proximity to people, places, and things. And then if you want to layer on top of that, your additional layer of socialization can be an interaction layer where now you're having your dog interact with new people, places, and things, okay? Other dogs, things like that. So that's going to depend on your goals. That's going to depend on your dog, because there are dogs that have preferences of not interacting with people, not interacting with dogs, these types of things. But that is something that we will discuss as we go on. And just so you know, socialization does provide long-term benefit to your dog because it reduces your dog's anxieties, it reduces your dog's fears, it reduces your dog's insecurities, etc. So when you reduce these behavioral traits, anxiety, insecurity, fear, so on and so forth, you actually reduce the possibility of your dog having any type of reactivity in the future. So, Danny, thoughts on socialization right out the gate?
I mean, I think the main thing, especially like with the dog parks, is like being able to control the environment, right? Being able to have a direct line of what happens to your dog, how your dog's feeling, also being able to observe how your dog's feeling, right? So before doing these sessions, maybe just quick look up on like dog body language and things like that, just so you can kind of have an idea what your dog's feeling, what you might need to do to adjust to your specific dog at hand.
Right.
But also, like I said, being able to control the environment, being able to make sure that your dog is provided with a positive experience. Like, for example, you go to a dog park, not an environment you can control, right? You don't know what's going to happen to your dog. You don't know how your dog's going to feel. You don't know what it's going to, be interacting with. If it's going to be interacting with a dominant dog, another insecure dog, or, a person. You don't know how your dog's going to react to that. Like I say, you can't control the environment. Right. So main thing, having that direct line of communication of being able to communicate your dog when it's doing the right thing, wrong thing, but also, like I said, being able to control what happens to your dog in that environment.
For sure. And like we said earlier, these concepts apply to both adult dogs and puppies. So if you've got a dog that you adopted from somewhere or you got from somewhere, it's already an adult, you can use these same principles we're going to talk about. But if you have a puppy, even more important. So if you have a puppy, ideally you begin socializing them as soon as possible. I know that the breeders that we specifically work with, that we provide consulting to them, we give them things to do as soon as those puppies are born to start socializing those puppies to a variety of things that are going to make them more confident and more capable as they develop. We also have a bunch of videos on our YouTube channels for both dog breeders and dog owners to show you how to do all of this in detail. So if you want to watch these detailed videos, go to the Canine Revolution Dog Training YouTube and look up those puppy videos so you can actually see what I'm talking about. But like I said, the concepts remain the same. The difference is when you socialize a puppy, you're laying the foundation right from the get-go for the rest of their life. We don't always control what happens to like adult dogs. Obviously, if you were to get an adult dog, you don't know what happened in that dog's past, and that's okay. That's where the socialization, as soon as you get your dog, immediately start it. As soon as you get your puppy, immediately start it. All right, so what are these general concepts I'm talking about? First of all, your puppy or your dog, they need to have a positive experience. And we prefer to do this with engagement games. And you've heard us talk about engagement before. It's building up sustained eye contact and focus on you from your dog. So what we like to do is we like to establish some sort of engagement at your home, in your yard, in your apartment complex before you start getting serious into socialization. And then we take that engagement development and we just do it in different locations. So first of all, if your dog looks at you, decides to make eye contact with you, you can do one of two things, and you can mix and match. You can say good and give them a food reward, nice and calm. That's our duration marker, the word good. So when you say good, you're basically telling your dog or your puppy, you're pinpointing a moment in time to them. You're saying, good, hey, that's what I like to see, which is eye contact on me. Here's a food reward. So we just take a piece of food out of our bait bag and we hand it to the dog, essentially just right to their nose. They take it, we stay calm, they keep doing what they're doing, we're good to go. When we say yes, that's our terminal release marker. Basically what that does to the dogs, it again pinpoints to them, I like that, I like what you're doing, now chase me and get some food from me. So this is kind of a dynamic reward, and the reason why we use both of these reward types is because when we're using that duration marker good, it's basically telling the dog, again, we like what you're doing, keep doing that, we keep them calm, we keep them neutral. When we say yes, that's when we're getting super energetic, we're increasing arousal, we're increasing excitement, and that dynamic motivation shift increases the dog's motivation and it increases their desire to do that activity again. So having a healthy balance of using these two markers and rewarding your dog are going to help really increase and drive that positive experience rapidly, right? So most of the time we're using food rewards for this. You can play tug with this if you want to. You do need to follow the rules of the tug game, which we have a tug series on our YouTube channel if you want to learn more about tug. But our preference is do this with food at first, and then as your food socialization is perfected, then you can move to like a tug game socialization. I've done it both ways many times. Danny, feedback on engagement, whether it's at someone's house, whether it's at their apartment before they start going other places?
Yeah, I mean, like you had said in the beginning, like first doing it at your home, doing it in your yard and things like that, you're basically creating a game that you can use anywhere you are with your dog, right? So being able to have that game, that's a very positive and motivating thing for the dog. Being able to generalize that to different environments where the dog has a general idea of like what it's doing in this game, like especially in certain environments, dog might be a little bit nervous, could make it a little bit anxious and things like that, which is all fine is all fine. But you still need to be able to make sure that at the end of the day that dog does have a positive experience, something that it can kind of default to. And looking at us, giving us eye contact is always a good default,
for sure,
right? And especially when playing that game, like I said, just making it something that you can provide your dog with a positive experience no matter where you are. Right. So definitely important having that little game to go back to if you need it.
Exactly. So bottom line, your basic socialization concept, you take your dog somewhere, your house, your neighborhood, your apartment complex. We'll talk about how to escalate your scenarios that you're going to from there. But you take your dog somewhere. When they make eye contact with you, you start marking that with good or yes. You start rewarding them. You do this repetitiously. Have a good time. This should be fun for you. This should be fun for your dog. There's different techniques you can use when you're doing this to create what we call reward events, where you're not moving the same way every time you say yes and back up and your dog takes food from you. Sometimes you run to the side. Sometimes you toss a piece of food. Sometimes you run forward, right? So there's different ways you can move to, again, change up the event, the reward event for your dog. And again, this just makes the positive experience even more positive, even more fun for the dog. They want to do it more and more. So therefore, they're getting socialized to your surroundings very efficiently, right?
And the dog's engaging with you too. So it's
Exactly.
learning like, hey, when I'm in this new environment, the best thing for me to do is to follow my handler's, leadership, follow their guidance, because they're a positive thing. No
Right.
matter where we are, they're a great thing to pay attention
Exactly.
to. Right.
Exactly. And it takes their respect and relationship
Exactly.
with you to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, you don't just want to start taking your dog out to crazy places while you're doing this. You do want to gradually increase the level of distractions and activities that are going on around you. So our preference from a training standpoint is going to be get in great socialization first at the community that you live in. This could be your neighborhood. A lot of neighborhoods have like a community area with a pool. Like at Danny's neighborhood, they're building like a mega pool park, right? So you could go outside of that, right? Some neighborhoods have like neighborhood dog parks, so you can get close to those. I wouldn't go inside of them, but outside of them as dogs are playing are great.
Stay where you can control the environment.
Exactly. They've got playgrounds. You can get up next to those. A lot of apartment complexes have different things going on. So use your community that you live in as your first level of socialization. And what you're looking for is for your dog to not really be affected by anything in your community, right? So if you take your dog over to the playground and you can tell that kids start to kind of make it a little bit uneasy, you'd slowly work on that over time by doing more and more socialization around that playground. But once you have great socialization in your community, then you're going to start escalating your scenarios that you're going to, your environments that you're going to. From there, the next place we generally recommend going to is like a local park. Pick out a local park. Maybe it has a walking trail, not too much going on. Maybe there's like some athletic stuff there like pickleball or tennis or something like that. Maybe more playgrounds, right? Go to these parks, any parks that you can find in your local area, socialization there, right? Get your dog comfortable in these very basic areas. Once that's done and your dog's really comfortable with your local parks, then I would recommend escalate to like a local store, like a hardware store. Lowe's Home Improvement's a great one. Home Depot's a great one. There's a bunch of stores that allow dogs. Ace Hardware, if you have that. Go to a local store. Go to a local restaurant. Not because you want tacos, but because you need to socialize your dog. And tacos just happen to be there, right? Go to local shopping centers. Even if you can't take your dog into all the stores at the shopping center, usually you can still walk around the shopping center. Or if you have like an outdoor mall area. When I was training in San Diego, California, there was a lot of outdoor malls, right? So I'd walk through those with dogs. In the southeast, there's not a lot of outdoor malls, but they do have like Tanger outlets, things like that you can go to walk around with dogs. So just find places like this and start exposing your dog to these types of environments now that the parks are easy and now that your neighborhood community is easy. You see what I'm saying? And then once that's easy, once the stores are easy, the restaurants are easy, nothing's really affecting your dog, the shopping centers, your dog doesn't really care, right? Your dog's just having a good time. Once that's done, then you're going to escalate to like the busiest places you can find. That could be like a local farmer's market. It could be a local festival. It could be, different things like that. So it could be like little events that your town throws, like a car show or, like a farmer show or something, taco festival, Cinco de Mayo, taco festival.
Chad loves his tacos, yeah. Can't
I
say
like some
off
beef
that
tacos, carne asada tacos, dude. So that's how we recommend you systematically begin to escalate your dog's socialization. Now, for me, I know, and we'll talk more about it as we go on here, for me, I know if I see some type of stress from the dog, like let's say I see tuck tails, right, or the dog stops taking food rewards, or the dog's having a hard time engaging with me, generally that's telling me that I increased my level of distraction that's going on around me too quickly. So then I go, like if I went to like a Home Depot and I started seeing a lot of stress from the dog, I'd leave Home Depot immediately. And then I'd go back to focusing on local park areas, right? Once the local parks were good again, I'd go back to Home Depot. I wouldn't go through the store. I might go through the garden center because the garden center is typically not as busy as the lumber section. It's not as loud, not so much stuff going on. So I'll just meander through the garden center for a couple minutes, get my engagement there. Once the dog engages with me there, I'll just leave, right? Come back for my next session at Home Depot, then I might start going through the store. And again, if I'm seeing stress, I'll kind of stay out of the areas of the store that are stressful I might stick to the lower key areas of the store, keeping my session short, keeping it fun for the dog, and then leaving on a good note. What are some things you do yourself when you're doing socialization, or you notice things with dogs?
Yeah, I mean, definitely like the same thing. Like, don't rush it. You know what I mean? Definitely pay attention to what your dog's trying to tell you. If it is stressed out, make sure you're not overdoing it, right? Because bottom line, socialization is positive experiences around these new things and in these new environments. So if you're trying to push it too fast, you know, and you're over stressing your dog, it's not going to be beneficial for your dog or for you, right? It's going to be stressing you out too that your dog's not responding properly.
Right.
It's obviously going to be different with the individual dog. Right, like some dogs might progress a lot quicker with socialization. Some dogs, high anxiety, high insecurity, things like that. It's going to be a lot slower. It's going to take more sessions, maybe sessions in shorter, duration, like kind of how you were saying. But it's obviously it's going to be different depending on the dog. So, but definitely like know the dog that you're taking into these environments. Make sure you're not rushing it. Don't overstress them. Right.
Yeah, like how you said, it depends on the dog. Because a lot of times there's dogs that you can socialize and you're going through places, it's no factor.
Exactly.
Then you got dogs where they're struggling just to get in a car.
Right,
they're struggling to go to a car ride.
Exactly.
Which brings up a new point is like, though a car is a person, place, or thing. It falls in the thing category. But we do have to ride in our car. So that is going to be a socialization step that you take to interaction phase because you are going to be inside the car.
Yeah.
But, you might find that, okay, I'm trying to go somewhere with my dog. Now I have a car problem. I've identified a potential car problem. Now you're not going somewhere. You're just focusing on socialization to the car.
Exactly.
Which real quick.
Then you rush that.
Right.
You rush that. You throw a dog in the car, make him work through it.
Yeah.
Dog's already stressed out when you get to the new environment. You're already working against yourself.
Exactly. So the way you socialize a car real quick, just doing your engagement around the car, just walk around the car doing engagement, making sure the dog's comfortable with getting up close to the car. Then you just open the car doors, right? You start doing engagement
Baby
in
steps.
the car, out of the car, in the car, out of the car, right? And just build it up. Turn the car on.
Yep.
Drive down the street, engagement as you go. Now obviously you got to drive, so you got to stop, put it in park, do some rewarding stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Of course.
Exactly.
10 and 2.
Right.
Son.
But we do want to pay attention to your dog's body language. So no matter what you're doing, what stage of your socialization work that you're in, your dog's body language and behavior may indicate that you're pushing them too hard or potentially inducing too much stress. We've already touched on this a little bit. So just so you know, stress when learning new things, it is normal. I remember being in high school. I remember being in college, algebra. Stressful. Obviously, I do have a degree in engineering, if you can believe it.
Okay.
If you can believe it. But let me tell you, that was a struggle because Calculus 1, fail, took it again. Calculus 1, fail, took it again. On the fourth time, I passed Calculus 1. It took me 2 times to pass Calculus 2. Calculus 3, Calculus 4, I passed the first
struggling.
I was struggling. I was stressed.
He was stressed, but you learned.
But I
learned how to operate under stress. Right? Same thing with dogs. If they're never exposed to stress, you never teach them how to operate under stress, they're never going to learn.
Exactly.
Right?
So stress helps you learn. Stress is one of those things that is going to happen. So like if you see stress in your dog, it's not like an immediate red flag. You're doing something wrong. It just means, okay, I noticed there's some stress. I got to figure out how to work through this, right? Depending on the dog, depending on what's going on. But some key indicators for you guys. If you see a tucked tail, that's your dog is a little bit insecure, it's nervous, it's fearful. Your dog might be trying to move away from people, like a certain person, a certain place, a certain thing that you're working on. If you see that, you might be pushing your dog too hard. And what that means is you need to look at your threshold. You might need to balance your threshold a little bit. So don't forget, we've talked about it in the past on other episodes, but a threshold is your distance to distraction. So, for example, if Danny has a dog, he's out, at a place with a dog, and he gets 15 feet away from, let's say, like a shopping cart. I mean, that is a thing.
It's a thing.
They do make noise and shit. So you get 15 feet away from a shopping cart, and you start seeing the dog stressed. The dog has been engaging with you up to this point. It has been taking food, but all of a sudden, tail is tucked. It's like looking at this thing, stops taking food. key indicators of stress, right? Danny knows, okay, I'm 15 feet away from this, what was it, golf cart or shopping cart?
It's a shopping cart.
Shopping cart. So let me go 20 feet away. He just takes a couple steps off to the side. Shopping cart's still there, not moving, right? Those couple of steps, the dog's like, looks at Danny, starts taking food again, starts engaging again. So Danny knows my threshold at this point is about 20 feet.
20 feet from the shopping cart.
Exactly. And so then Danny's just going to monitor that as he goes through his session. He's going to see if he can reduce his threshold or get a little bit closer to the shopping cart, but maintain engagement, maintain the same stress level. Let's say Danny gets 10 feet away from the shopping cart, and at 10 feet, that dog again cannot engage. Its tail tucking. It's like staring at the shopping cart, freaky shopping cart, right?
Back to 15, boys.
And so then Danny goes out to 15, and then you get the idea. He's slowly working his way down to where he's right next to the shopping cart. This might be done in one session. It might take multiple sessions. But if you see this happening, you want to get your threshold down as close as you can. And then if you're going into the interaction phase of socialization, you're going to start working on actually being able to push the shopping cart with your dog, not freaking out, right? So that's your interaction phase.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm trying to say is pay attention to your dog's body language. If you see stress, know that stress is normal, but sometimes you might have to work on your threshold. You might have to increase your threshold.
A little bit of stress. A little bit of stress at a time.
Exactly.
Not overdoing
and slowly work on that stress, slowly work to reduce those thresholds over time. Again, if you try to rush this, if you try to force this, it could make your problem worse, and then it could make your dog aversive to certain things or situations, right? So it's always better to come into this socialization plan whenever you make one for your dog as I'm taking my time, and I'm just developing this based on the principles and concepts of socialization, right? So let's say you've done socialization with your dog. Everything's good to go. Your dog's having great positive experiences in close proximity to new people, places, and things. No factor. Now you're ready to do some interactions, right? So we call the positive experience to new people, places, and things, close proximity. We call that your baseline socialization. Now you're like, I want to work on interactions. We already mentioned like your vehicle. We mentioned like a shopping cart. You want to work to push that shopping cart with your dog. Those are interactions. But the top two types of interactions that people really want their dogs to do in general, they want their dogs to interact with people. They want their dogs to interact with other dogs. Am I right or am I right?
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. That's the truth. No one cares about shopping carts, boys.
So, well, people that are shopping.
Yeah, walking around Home
especially if you're
Depot,
doing especially if you're going on a lumber getting trip, you know those lumber carts.
Oh yeah, loud AF. Yeah.
So that'll freak out a dog. That'll freak out some people. You know,
freak out Chad.
Yeah. So if you're wanting to interact with people, just know there's a variety of people out there. They're different heights. They're different ages. Typically, the younger they are, the crazier they are. Or the older they are, the crazier they are. It's one way or the other. Exactly.
I mean, the heights is a big one, especially for like insecure dogs. Like I've had dogs. Like I'm a taller guy. You know, 6'3".
Oh yeah.
You know, no need to flex here. But you know, I've walked into houses where like I'm either, you know, I might be with JC, one of our apprentices, doing a consultation.
Don't call her out.
She's very short. Very short.
Don't put her right out there.
She's a shorter woman, right?
Yes.
Nice woman.
She's shorter
woman.
than Danny.
Right.
She's shorter
might
than
be
Danny.
In this house. Dog's barking at me the whole time. Loves JC,
right?
Loves JC. JC's
She's down
much
at the
smaller.
dog's level.
I'm just, but you know, I'm just hanging out. I'm tall. You know, I'm just standing there minding my business.
Right.
Dog's freaking out. Just doesn't like seeing me because I'm big, right?
Could be because you're tall. Could be because you're a man.
Could be as well. Yep.
You know, different genders
a lot of
play a
dogs.
role sometimes.
Some dogs will. Yeah, exactly. Like some dogs will look at a man as like a more dominant. You know.
Right.
In the room, like a more dominant.
Or if they have a history with men.
Very true.
Like men
right.
are creating learned helplessness situations with the dog. Now the dog starts to create an association to men that men are bad.
Right.
And they meet Danny. They get to know Danny. They love
then we're
Danny.
best buddies.
Exactly.
Then they love tall men.
So when you're doing your interaction phase with people, you know, you've already got your baseline. Your dog's, comfortable with being around people. So now what you want to do is create some kind of game out of interacting with people. So there's a couple things I like to do. First of all, have the strangers reward the dog, you know, so the dog might be making eye contact with me. I'll give the stranger a piece of my training reward, and I'll say, hey, give this to the dog. So they'll say, good boy, good girl, right? They hand the dog the reward. Now the dog's like, oh, this person's cool. Now, some dogs, if they're shy or nervous of people, they might try to get away from people. Some dogs might be trying to give too much attention. You know, they start getting all wiggly and then, jumpy.
Can't think properly.
Right? So
Acting
both
crazy.
of those situations, we want to teach neutrality. So if the dog is kind of jumpy, a little, like overly excited, we don't want to reward that. So we, tell the people like, hey, don't pet them, don't reward them unless they got 4 paws on the ground, unless they're calm, right? If the dog's trying to get away from the person, we're like, oh, okay, they're a little bit nervous. A lot of times if the person's like standing, staring at the dog, I'll tell them, hey, just turn sideways. Give them a reward from the side of your body versus in front of you, right? And a lot of times that helps the dog get used to getting rewards from the person. And then if the dog's cool with the rewards, it's nice and calm, and the people want to pet the dog, I always classically condition physical touch, so I do it myself before I do this with interactions with people. But essentially your equation for that is let the people pet the dog first and then reward the dog with food. What that does is it teaches the dog that petting equals a food reward, which they like.
Positive
obviously.
experience.
Exactly. And then you do want to teach boundaries. I already touched on this a little bit, but like teach your dog to be calm, teach him not to jump on people, not to paw people. And then you have to also teach boundaries to the people around you, which is a little bit more difficult. Teach the strangers around you not to bum rush your dog, not to just reach out for your dog. So you might have to say, hey, no petting, we're in training. Do you want to help me with my training? Here's a food reward. Give it to my dog, right? That's usually what I do, because a lot of times people are like staring at my dog. They're like coming from
They
the
get
dog.
tunnel vision,
Right?
especially kids, dude.
Right?
Especially kids. I've had kids come up to me like, "Can I pet the dog?" I'll be like, "No," and they're as I'm saying no, they're already like
pet it
hand
anyway.
on the dog's back. I'm like, okay,
They pet it anyway. So
exactly.
if the person's doing that, I'm like, hey, no petting, we're in training. Do you want to help me with my training? And then they'll be like, what? Sure. And I'm like, okay,
course.
here's a food reward.
Of
Go ahead,
course.
reward the dog. If they're calm, we'll do another one. If they're still calm, then we can do some petting. If they're not calm, again, I don't want to overly stress them. So maybe I don't get to petting with certain dogs. I'm like, hey, not today, no petting today, but thank you for giving food rewards to help. Right? So again, this might take one session. It might take multiple sessions. It is going to take multiple sessions because you're going to want a variety of people to interact with your dog, right, to get them on that interaction phase. The next thing a lot of people want their dog to interact with is other dogs. We did do a complete podcast on how to have 2 dogs meet or interact. That is Pack Talk Podcast episode 122. So you can listen to our deep dive on how to do that. But again, same concept here, gradual introduction. A little bit different here because you can't have another dog reward your dog with food rewards. You have to expose your dog to that dog gradually over time and make sure their energy levels are a match and that they're going to be good for each other. So typically we recommend walking together, which might take several sessions, and then start interacting together. And take breaks as you needed, teach boundaries as you need to, because we don't want the dogs to kind of get overbearing on each other or anything. We want nice, calm interaction. So take your time with that. But again, Pack Talk Podcast 122 is going to be your go-to episode for the deep dive on interacting with dogs. Danny, other thoughts on people, dog interactions, things you've done, things you've seen?
No, I think you really covered it all. I mean,
Well, you had,
No,
I know you've talked about this on another episode, but you had a dog that was struggling with your truck,
yes.
right? So talk to us through what you did to interact with your truck.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely a big threshold with that one, right? As like with, certain dogs, whether it's, dealing with a reactivity or something like that, if it's a dog on dog reactivity or dog on person reactivity, you're going to have that threshold, right? It could be 50 feet, could be 10 feet, like kind of how we addressed earlier. But with this dog in specific, if he knew I was walking towards the truck, he's already running away. Like if he knows I'm walking right towards it, he's already trying to escape the scenario, right? So right there, it's very easy to figure out where my threshold is, right? As soon as I'm 30, 40 feet away from the truck walking towards it, he's already got a association to that. So some things I did was, obviously our training area is pretty close to vehicles to begin with, so that kind of worked in my favor, just being able to do most of my training around vehicles in general. Cars, like driving past them, not a big thing. It was just going to the car. Him going to the car. He was not with it, dude. Right. Not with it at all. So I tried feeding him around the car. Again, there's like that threshold, so like I slowly tried to work that threshold and just get a little bit closer, but still, like, once I'm there, and I got to the point where I could walk to my truck and he's fine, he's still like somewhat engaging with me, still a little bit nervous, right? But still I worked that threshold to where I can at least walk to the car in a heel position, and he's paying good attention to me. And then I ran into the issue of, as soon as I grabbed the door and open it, he's freaking out, trying to run away, right? So that's another thing that I had to work towards, where I would just have the door open, right? I'm just walking past the truck. He looks at me good, right? Doing engagement while I'm doing these things, making sure it's a very positive thing to him. But something I did that really helped him was observational learning, right? So I had this other dog that I was training. This secondary dog, loves getting in and out of the car. So I was like, this is going to be good. He's good with other dogs. The dog that I'm trying to get to go in the car, good with other dogs, right? So first things I'm doing is I'm putting them on place, right, next to each other, working on that relationship, taking them on walks, things like that. Once that was solid, once they were like generally wanted to interact with each other, I would put the secondary dog into the vehicle, right? And then I have my other dog that's more nervous about it, but he's kind of motivated to get into the truck because he wants to interact. He wants to be with his buddy, basically, right? Wants to be with his friend here. Right. So still a little bit nervous, right? Still, not loving it. Still like showing stress, nervous body language, a little bit stressed out. So, and still like taking it a little bit slow with him, having that dog in the car, basically doing the same things that I was doing as if that dog wasn't in the car, maybe taking the dog out of the car, going on another walk, going back into the car, right? But it took many sessions, many repetitions to really make it a positive thing and to really motivate him to get into the car, right? But observational learning, having the other dog that he wanted to interact, definitely helps a ton. Like just being able to have him, because I at least got to the point where he would kind of like put his paws up into the car and like look in there, like he wants to go in, and like sometimes he would jump off, sometimes he would go in. So like I just that was like a repetition thing, really, just kind of working him through that. And but yeah, like in the beginning, like he'd go into the car, he's trembling, freaking out, right? Just panting, super anxious. Now he's much better. He's with a older owner, an elderly owner, right? In the beginning with her, he was still like, with her car, I think was probably where it all started. With her car, it was a little bit harder for him than my truck. With my truck, he was went into it more smoothly, right? It's already a very positive thing. Once I bring him home, he sees her car, he sees her, he's got, reinforcement history of being stressed out with this owner in her car, right? So that was a whole nother thing. That was like basically we're kind of doing the same steps. It was a little bit faster, right? But still, again, baby stepping it, taking it kind of at his pace until he was more comfortable with it, until he was going in and out of her car, like the same as he was doing in my truck. But so like that's another thing too. It's like context plays a big part of it. You know what I mean? Whether you're at one park or another park, or one car and another car, or one home and your friend's home or something like that. Right. It's going to be different. Your dog's going to react differently. So important to observe your dog's body language, and again making sure it's positive at the end of the day. Right. For sure.
It was faster when you took the dog home, because not only did you do it to your truck over that period of time, but you also generalized it with other vehicles. You didn't just do your truck. You used a couple other vehicles for people that were here.
Yep, that's true.
To generalize him getting in and out of a different type of vehicle, different setup, different thing going on. Right. So all this accelerates his ability to adapt to different situations. But like you said, context is key.
Context is key. And a lot of it was like a confidence thing. So doing it with my truck, doing it with, other vehicles is not only like making him more comfortable getting in and out of the car, but making him more confident to do so, right? And that again helped translate a little bit easier to the owner's vehicle, making it a little bit smoother.
That's a great example of interactive layer. You did have to add in another interaction with the dog that became his friend, right? So that was
in some cases, sorry to interrupt, some cases you might not be able to do that. Right. If you have one dog Say you're an owner, you have one dog, you don't have another dog, you don't have a friend with a dog, things like that. It's not that you can't reach the goal without observational learning. It just might take a little bit longer. You might have to take some extra steps. But for me, observational learning with that other dog was just the quickest and most efficient way to, get him comfortable going in another car.
Exactly. Good to go. Some other things to think about. Just keep in mind, socialization applies to everything. So Danny talked about his truck, but it could be noises if your dog has issues with noises, which could be cars, could be gunfire, could be fireworks, could be the sound of a washing machine, could be lumber getting moved in the hardware store. Noises can be something that you need to socialize your dog to.
It could be literally anything. Anything in this world.
Exactly.
It could be a tree. It could be a bush. It could be anything. It could be a guinea fowl. Could be a chicken.
Could be a chicken.
I know some dogs that got thresholds with chickens for sure. For sure.
Could be an object like an umbrella, a stroller, a play set, a shopping cart, grooming tables. Like if you have a dog that you need to take to the groomer, grooming table could be a thing. A vet office, obviously a scale in a vet office or a vet office table can be a thing. It can be nail trimmers, whether it's the clip style nail trimmers or the Dremel style nail trimmers. If you have a boat, you like going on the boat, could be a socialization thing with the boat, which I've done many times with a lot of people. Could be a pool, could be anything. Like Danny said, could be literally anything.
Could be a piece of paper in the wind.
Right, that you need to socialize your dog to. It could be an environment like a vet office itself. Could be a grooming salon itself.
Could be a specific person too.
Could be a specific.
Like we kind of addressed this earlier, but like one of our assistants has a dog that loves females, and this we've seen dogs come through training that are like this too, but loves females, loves smaller people and things like that. Males come in, maybe someone with a hat comes in, someone with a beard comes in, like Chris, big beard, right? Just specific people that might look a little bit differently than their owner or the person that they're used to, or their trainer, whoever that is. Could be another scenario where it's like the specific person, the specific looking person, the specific tall person or child, whatever that might be, is also another thing to think about.
Exactly,
for sure.
Exactly. So all good to go, all things to think about. Just remember that your socialization concepts and principles remain the same. No matter what it is, no matter what's going on. You want to build positive experiences and associations. You want to have fun. You want to balance your thresholds carefully. If you do that, you will have success. But you're going to have to put in the hard work at the beginning.
Takes consistency.
Exactly.
Takes lots of repetitions.
Exactly.
Definitely depending on the dog, too.
You can stick to it. You can be consistent. It will pay off. You will see your dog be very well balanced with everything going on around them. So just some key takeaways. Again, remember that socialization is providing your dog with positive experiences in close proximity to new people, places, and things, balancing your thresholds. Interactions are another layer that you can add on top of that if you want, not required though, right? You want to reward your dog for eye contact, use your good marker, use your yes marker, use food rewards, use a tug game if you want to or if you can. But have fun. You need to have fun. Your dog needs to have fun. If you're not liking this, your dog's not liking it, you're not doing a good job. right?
You ain't doing it right.
You got to change it up to where you are enjoying it, right? Gradually increase the level of environments that you go to. Don't just jump from A to B, and overwhelm your dog. Gradually increase the environments. Take your time, and always refer to our YouTube channel if you want to see specific videos on us doing this. We have videos of us going to a farmer's market with the dog. We have videos of us going to a Home Depot with the dog. We have videos of as much as we can, because it's such an important thing. And if there's a video that we're missing, a place that you want us to go to that we haven't gone to, taco shop, if you need me to put that on a video, I will. Tacos might be involved.
And he'll review the tacos too.
Hey, maybe we'll do that too,
a little taco review here.
Exactly.
With the dogs.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Don't forget, you guys, rate us on your favorite podcast platform or view us on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to both the Canine Revolution Dog Training YouTube channel and the Pack Talk Podcast YouTube channel. Real quick, to wrap this up, just want to discuss a few of our affiliates real quick.
Per usual.
First of all, we've got Canine Revolution Dog Training. That's us providing professional dog training services for you. through a board and train program, through a private lesson setup, through a virtual lesson, whatever you guys need, you can let us know. Our phone number is 843-213-2676. Our email is info@caninerevolutiondogtraining.com. If you want Danny to train your dog, tell us, I want Danny to train my dog, and he'll be there.
Or if you want chat.
Or if you want me.
You want chat. You can request. We take special requests.
Exactly.
Some people got preferences.
Exactly. So don't forget, check it out. We've also got Canine Revolution apparel. So this is you supporting yourself. This is you supporting the podcast. This is you supporting your friend. This is you supporting Nice Pitties, because we have a Nice Pitties shirt, by the way.
We sure do.
It has 2 pitties on it, strategically placed on the shirt, and it says Nice Pitties, right? So you can't beat that. We've got chicken shirts. We've got Canine Revolution logo shirts. We've got good to go shirts, because we want you good to go. And if you get a good to go shirt, you're definitely good to go.
And then your dog's good to go.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All your training becomes easier because you've got the good to go shirt.
Exactly.
If you're a big coffee drinker, we got the coffee cups, right, Ben? Ben doesn't have a mic again today.
We should get dog apparel, right? Like shirts. A lot of people like putting shirts on their dogs.
Maybe not.
Get a nice pitty shirt for
your
a
dog
pitty?
already has a shirt. It's called its coat.
You kidding me? You kidding me? It's not the same, boys. We need
some doggy rain jackets.
We need Bane in a good to go shirt, son.
Oh, don't forget about the Iron Revolution shirts.
Holy!
If you like getting after it
That's
in
OG.
the gym,
that's some
they've
OG
got the
shit.
Iron Revolution, dude. They've got Bane on there yoking some weight around too.
Oh, really?
Just saying. All right, so go to Canine Revolution Apparel on Amazon if you want to check that out. Also, don't forget, if you want to feed your dog the optimal diet, we've got WeFeedRaw.com. You can use the discount code Canine Revolution, spelt out, all caps, no spaces, Canine Revolution. That gets you 25% off a meal plan. And they've got the complete raw food that's frozen. They ship it to you. You thaw it out, and then you give it to your dog. They've also got the freeze-dried raw. You can use those for training treats, or you can feed your dog the freeze-dried raw. Easy to travel with, but optimal diet for your dog. Getting your dog all those amino acids they need to sustain health and longevity long term, right? You heard it from a couple of the vets that we've had on the podcast. You've heard it from our expert nutritionists we've had on the podcast. Don't forget the We Feed Raw diet is specifically formulated by a PhD nutritionist that makes sure it's formulated properly for your dog, because if you DIY raw, you're going to be missing out on some things. But you get the We Feed Raw, boom, now your dog next level. We call that good to go, right? Good to go. So WeFeedRaw.com. Our next affiliate is Canine Super Supplements, the letter K, the number 9, supersupplements.com. Discount code's the same for you guys. Make it easy, right? Canine Revolution, all caps, no spaces, spelt out. Canine Revolution. Canine Super Supplements gives you 15% off for using that code. But they've got the weight gainer formula. They've got the mass gainer formula, which is the weight gainer. They've got the multivitamin. They've got the joint support. They've got the puppy formula. So you can pick and choose your formula, but it's a powdered supplement you add to your dog's food, whether you're feeding We Feed Raw or whether you're feeding a kibble. Unfortunately, we got to do what we got to do. But we can accelerate our food by adding in the Canine Super Supplements and getting their nutrition to the next level. Lots of protein in the Canine Super Supplements, lots of collagen, lots of bone broth and things powdered up. They've got goat milk in there powdered up. Lots of different ingredients. You can look at them all on the website. So you go to caninesupersupplements.com, get the formula you need. I do recommend the joint support no matter what you're feeding your dog, just to get those joints, the extra support that you can give them.
Hell yeah.
And be good to go.
Hell
Right? Definitely helps, right? All right, last but not least, we got the JockoFuel. That's for you specifically, the dog owner, the dog lover, the dog trainer, right? Because here's the deal. You can't take the best care of your dog if you're not taking the best care of yourself. So that's why we get after it, Iron Revolution style. Then we supplement what we're eating. We supplement our diet with that JockoFuel. But I will say, there are days where things are happening. You're super busy, right? And nighttime comes, it's time to go to bed, and you're struggling because your brain's just going. You got that anxious thoughts going on. You're like, you're planning out your future socialization sessions in your head. You're like, I want to go here, I want to go there. You're just thinking about it too much, and you're like, I'm having a hard time bringing it down, relaxing to go to bed tonight. Don't worry, JockoFuel's got you covered with the Good Night supplement. That's your nighttime support. And you know me, I'm busy. I got things going on. Some days I'm busier than others. And if I feel like my brain's just having a hard time winding down, I take that good night, then I have a good night. You know what I'm saying?
Then you're good to go.
Night sleep, right? Good to go for the next day.
Hell yeah.
Because we know that sleep is when your body is repairing itself. We know that sleep is when your body is actually bringing in what you've learned that day. So if you learn something during the day, when you sleep is when your body is learning it to long-term memory. So if you're not sleeping good, you got problems, dude. So you get that good night, get yourself on the path, right? Get yourself good to go.
Jack gets amped about these affiliates.
Don't forget about the creatine. Creatine, everybody should be taking creatine. Ben, you're on the creatine? Danny, are you on it now?
No, I'm on the milk.
You're on the milk?
I'm on the milk.
Good. Well, that milk is that protein.
That's good. Okay, Benjamin.
Milk, dude. Well, the other day, one of my daughters had a field trip to the strawberry patch, so she came back with a bunch of strawberries. She's like, I want a strawberry shake. I want you to make me a strawberry shake. I'm like, Roger that. So you know what I did, dude? Got some milk, cookies and cream, dumped it in that strawberry shake, got the strawberries, diced them up, put them in there, right? Got a little bit of milk in there, got a little bit of strawberry yogurt in there, blended that up, boom, down the hatch. She was good to go, right? Good. She didn't even know I put milk in there. Extra protein for her. I got her best interest in mind, right? So go to JockoFuel.com, use the discount code K9Revolution, spelt out, all caps, no spaces. That gets you 10% off JockoFuel. Now you're supporting yourself, which means you're supporting your dog, which means you're good to go, right? So thank you guys for listening. Again, rate us on your favorite podcast platform. Review us on your favorite podcast platform. That helps us spread the word. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Shout out to the YouTube viewers. We appreciate you guys watching on YouTube. Again, we're out here in Guinea land. No guineas were here when we started the episode, but they were here before we did. Now we just have a big fat squirrel sitting over here with us. So the guineas will be here in a future episode. Guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. And guineas is something you got to socialize your dog to, too.
Oh, hell yeah.
Guineas help prepare your dog.
And cats.
Guineas help prepare your dog for other scenarios.
We didn't even address cats in this one. Well, cats is a big one.
Same principle. Apply. Same concept apply. Except with the cat, you got to have a boundary with your cat, too.
Very true.
Because, cats, they'll encroach upon that boundary very quickly. And they can be a little bit dynamic. Let's just say that.
And say, sometimes you can't lay the boundary because it's not your cat. Right? I got a cat in my neighborhood, dude.
Really?
I call him Stalker Cat.
Oh, shoot.
He follows me around, dude.
Really?
I'm walking around with Macy, dude. He's following me. I'm not, dude. He's just stalking me. I turn around. He ducks under a car, dude.
What?
I take 10 more steps. He's right back behind me.
Oh, yes.
Fucking slurking up behind me, dude. Crazy, dude.
You fed him at some point.
I didn't, dude. Well, matter of fact, real quick.
Side tangent
he got a little confident. He came up to me and Macy while I'm in my backyard, letting Macy go potty, hanging out. Macy's like getting a little anxious, right? Not really sure what to do. Cat just comes walking up, dude. I kind of
into the yard.
Like right under the edge of the grass, dude. I kind of let Macy go a little close. They're just sniffing a little bit. I'm like, oh, pretty good, good to go, good socialization, right? Cat smacks her in the face, dude.
What?
Smacks Macy in the face. I'm like, oh my god.
No way,
Macy
dude.
starts barking. I'm like, shit, dude. Not good to go, dude.
So you did the reverse of what you wanted.
I did. I worked against myself, dude, but it's all right. We're adjusting.
Did the cat scratch or just
just
soft paw?
Get away
when
from
they
me.
eject those claws, dude, that does some major damage.
Yeah, no.
Have you seen the YouTube videos of the cat groomers trying to
Yeah,
groom the cat?
they're
dude?
freaking out,
And the
dude.
cats are like,
Freaking
gets
out.
in, the dude's screaming.
Dude, you can't hold a cat still, dude. You can't hold a cat still.
I'm like, who sends their cat to a groomer? You know what I'm saying?
Well, they got some long-haired cats, boys.
I know, but cats groom themselves.
That's true, but sometimes they need haircuts.
Okay.
All
right.
I mean, I wouldn't personally, but I do know some cats that got some mats.
Holy
So
cow,
you
not good.
gotta brush them out and shit.
Yeah.
But hey, socialization for a cat next video, boys.
Well, I do have it
Same
on the
deal.
game plan to discuss cats and dogs in the future
Holy.
because I've had a lot of questions about cats and dogs. So we
That's
will discuss
a big
more
one.
cats and dogs
It's
in
a
the
big
future.
one.
We do need a cat shirt, by the way.
Holy.
Cat shirt. We need to get that in the works because we do have cats.
We got 2 cats.
We have 2
Mango,
cats at Canine Revolution.
Kiwi.
I know Ben has a cat who loves his dog's food, by the way, and loves Ben's food, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So anyway, thank you guys for listening. We look forward to talking to you guys next time. And this is Pack Talk Podcast. Out.